right there, Patrick. Here we go, man. I mean, it's interesting because to have you in here as I'm going to say a psychotherapist, would that be accurate?
Hypnotherapist.
Okay, hypnotherapist.
Yes,
So as a hypnotherapist, like what exactly, like for someone who has no idea, like they hear about hypnosis, they hear about hypnotherapy. What is a hypnotherapist?
Yeah, that's a great question because a lot of people have heard of hypnotherapy, but the only thing they've ever experienced or actually seen is this thing we call entertainment hypnotherapy. They've actually gone to the county fair, or maybe they've seen it on TV, or they've actually gone to a show. And the hypnotherapist will actually get the person to do something that they normally wouldn't do. Maybe bark like a dog, cluck like a chicken, or out here at the local county fair, for example, she's actually had people think that they were freezing, just absolutely freezing, on a day that's well over 100 degrees here in Ventura County. So that's all on the entertainment side. That's all for fun. Now, where I spend all of my time is on the other side of the spectrum, and that's where I like to call purposeful hypnotherapy. And that's actually working on things that people consider a roadblock, something that stands in their way of allowing them to enjoy their life at the maximum, at the fullest. And those would be things like depression, anxiety, fears and phobias, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, maybe a smoking habit, maybe a weight loss habit. Maybe they can't study, maybe they can't pass an exam, like a bar exam or an insurance exam. That's all over here on this other side called purposeful hypnotherapy. And that's where I spend 100% of my time, is helping people get past the roadblocks that are stopping them from being and living the life that they want to live on a day-to-day basis.
That's interesting. So purposeful hypnotherapy.
That's right.
So I like that. And then you have the entertainment, because I have a friend, a guy named Tom Silver, that I mentioned to you once, that he's all about the show.
Right.
But in reality, what you do is help people who identify with a block that they have.
That's correct.
So that's kind of challenging because most people don't realize that they have a block.
Right. And so...
They just know they have a problem, so they come to you.
Right.
But you know they have a block.
Yeah, they'll usually come to me and they'll have an inkling of what is going on. They might be saying, I just don't feel right and I want to feel happy and I want to, play with my kids and go out and do things and stuff. So it's through the consultation that I actually find out exactly what's really bothering them. Maybe it's a state of anxiety, or maybe it's some depression that's creeping in, or maybe they have a fear or a phobia of actually being happy. So it's through the consultation that I'll actually zero in and confer with them and get them to agree that that's actually the issue. And then we'll really focus in on that particular problem. And, depends on what they're looking for and how deep the issue is. It takes a number of sessions. But it certainly is something that we can get to and that we can actually fix.
Okay, so let's talk success, right?
Okay.
When it comes to what are the type of people, okay? I know smoking's a big thing.
Right.
What are like some of the top type of problems or situations that people come to you with hopes of getting success?
That's a perfect question. I actually have 3 focus areas that I spend most of my time in. So the litany of things that I can do and help with, I shared with you just a few minutes ago, everything from depression down to helping them pass an exam. But of all of those things, there are 3 main ones that pop up every day, and that would be overcoming trauma. Something has happened in their life that they can't stop thinking about. So it could be something like bullying or a divorce or a death of a loved one, domestic violence, incest, rape. Any of those things come under the trauma umbrella. And that's very true for veterans, as a matter of fact. I put PTSD there as well. And that's where I actually started my practice, was helping veterans overcome some of the issues that they're having. Because as you know, as a former vet, as a vet of the Marine Corps, we're having 22 veterans a day commit suicide because of PTSD and trauma-related issues. And that goes back to, we started keeping those statistics back in 2007, and it has never changed. It's always 22 a day since 2007. And we know that number is underreported because it's a self-reported number. So states don't have to tell the VA if they have a suicide because of PTSD.
Right.
In fact, only 35 participate in that. So that means 15 aren't. So that means we are underreporting that 22 a day. But that's still a large number. 22 a day are committing suicide. So one part of my practice is trauma. The second part of my practice is stop smoking. I have a lot of people that want to, all of a sudden, they want to quit smoking. And usually my target market is women between 40, 50, and 60, because all of a sudden their kids are having kids. And now they're thinking, I got to get healthy. I've got to be able to take care of this, because if I don't, I won't be here for my grandkids. And if I'm not here for my grandkids, that's going to be very sad. And so they'll call me up and say, can you help me with that? Because they're starting to experience things like COPD, or maybe emphysema, or high blood pressure, cancer, lung cancer. So I usually get calls in that range, 40 to 60, saying, can you help me quit smoking? And then the last focus for my practice is weight management, weight elimination. A lot of folks are starting to get healthy. They want to be healthy. They want to be able to do things. Like back to the smokers. I want to be able to play with my kids and my grandkids. And right now I can't, because I'm just too big. I ache. I feel bad. I have high blood pressure. I have high cholesterol. I have diabetes. I can't do the things I did as a kid. So can you help me with that? So those are the three focus: trauma, smoking, weight management.
Okay, so to give people understanding of hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been done for years, right?
Right. Yeah, it's been around for a long time. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's relatively new, but they actually use hypnotherapy in NASA with the astronauts, and they also use it in the military to help them calm down, especially snipers, people that are in combat. They help them relax to a point where they can actually perform their job, whether in combat or not. So yeah, hypnotherapy's been around for a long time.
So all right. So to break it down, if you were talking to a bunch of fifth graders,
Right.
what is hypnotherapy?
All right. So there's three parts to hypnotherapy. The first part is that you want to become nice and relaxed, because when you become nice and relaxed, you have the capability of focusing. And when you can focus, that means you're listening to me. Because in my sessions, I usually have the person put on a headset, and I play a little bit of nice music in the background. And then what I do is I have them close their eyes, and then I put them through a relaxation session.
Okay, so when you say relaxation as it helps you create the platform to help them,
Correct.
or relaxation in general, where I could just go to I don't know, like get a massage.
Right. So I get them in that state
Okay.
while sitting in a chair. Now, the reason that we want to do that is because as we grow up, around the age of 12, we start to develop these things we call filters in the conscious mind. So we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And in the conscious mind, that's what you and I are right now. We're very conscious. We're looking at each other. We're responding to questions. In the conscious mind, we have these things that are filters. And they actually start to be created around the age of 12. So as a parent, have you ever heard anybody say, especially when they have a child of 8, 9, or 10 years old, they said, oh, here's my mini-me. Here's my mini-me. That's because they dress like them, they act like
Right.
them. They
I have
respond,
a mini-me.
Yeah, they respond like them, right?
Right.
And the reason is because the parent is the role model. So they're role modeling what they're seeing. Now, the other predominant role models are mom and dad, older brothers and sisters, probably their favorite teacher. And if they're in athletics, it'll be their favorite coach. And if they go to church, it's going to be their pastor or their priest. These people have the most influence on the behavior of that child up until about 10, 11, 12. Around 12, we start to become into our own. We start to become our own person. And that's the time between 12 and 24 that you'll see the most changes dramatically. You'll see the most experiencing. They'll be out there trying things to see if that fits with them. They might change their hairstyle. They might change the way the clothes that they wear. They might change their friends. If they're going to drink, that's probably when they had their first drink. Hey, it's a football game. Let's go out and grab a couple of beers. If they're going to do drugs, that's usually when they'll experiment a little bit. Most of my smokers, believe it or not, start between the ages of 12 and 24. 99.9% of my smokers have started in that time frame.
Wow.
So it's that rebellious year, right? That's where we're actually trying to come into our own. So, and so those filters start to form. We start to understand what's right, what's wrong, yes, no. And those things are that filter is active just constantly, 24 hours a day. So if I were to say to you, for example, 2 plus 2 is 37, it would hit that filter and you go, no, that's wrong. And it send it out into the universe and never come back again. But if I say, oh, 2 plus 2 is 24, it hits that filter and says, oh, I remember that from school. And it sends it down to the subconscious and said, yeah, that's the right answer. So those filters are very important. And when I try to get somebody relaxed, I want those filters just to calm down just ever so slightly and get even with the subconscious. Now, those filters that never turn off are ethics, spirituality, and morality. So if I have you in a hypnosis session and I say something stupid like, after the session is over, I want you to go out into a liquor store, rob it, bring me back the money, and never remember it, it's going to hit one of those 3 filters, if not all 3.
Right.
And you're going to wake up automatically.
And then
Yeah, you're just
so you're not going to put someone in a position where
Yeah.
they go and do wrong.
Yeah, so a lot of people think, oh, you're going to hypnotize somebody and you're going to get them to do something stupid. And the answer is no, you're not going to be able to do that. Which brings me back to the entertainment hypnotherapy. People say, well, do they really get them to do that without their own knowledge? Well, no, those filters are still on. Those people are on stage because they want to have fun. They want to be crazy. They want their friends to enjoy themselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ever raised their hand and say, yeah, pick me, I want to be hypnotized. So they're already in that state. They're ready to go. So anyway, back to your question, we get them nice and relaxed so that the filters just calm down a little bit, because a lot of our behaviors are subconscious. Everything that's automatic is in the subconscious. And every one of my 3 programs, there's something in there that causes a roadblock that does not enable them to be successful in what they want to be. So, for example, in the weight management, a weight elimination program, they might have something in there subconsciously that's been sitting there for a while. Maybe it's a childhood trauma, or maybe that's the way their mom and dad, the whole family ate on a regular basis. So that's all they know, and that's sitting in the subconscious. And if something message comes in that says, your doctor says you need to lose some weight, it hits that conscious filter and says, yeah, but that's not the way we do things in this family. And it sends it out, just like 2 plus 2 is 37. It never allows them to become the person that they really want to be. So we get the filter to calm down. We send a bunch of positive affirmations into the subconscious, and then we slowly wake them back up. 3 parts: relaxation, positive affirmations, awakening.
So based on what you're saying,
Right.
when someone comes into your office, and I just want to say it out loud so that I get it.
Okay.
And if I get it, I feel like the people who are watching us will get it.
Okay, good.
You have relaxation. So your person comes in, first thing you do is you get them to relax.
Right.
Once you get them to relax, you're saying they're much more receptive to the suggestion that you're going to provide.
That's right.
And the suggestion is what's going to give them that added confidence to follow through with the thing that they really want to follow through with, so they can get the outcomes that are associated with following through.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So when I was a kid,
Yeah.
we had a entertainment hypnotist come to our school.
Yeah.
And they asked who wants to go up on stage.
Yeah.
And so I raised my hand.
Why do I not think that you wouldn't?
And so I go up, and I'll never forget, it was like he basically had me become I was a monkey. I was hanging onto a balloon. It was pulling me up.
Yeah.
And so all the things that he really wanted me to do to make his show good,
Right.
I was all about.
Yeah.
And
you were all in.
I was in because I felt like he gave me the okay to do it.
Exactly.
And
That's
it's what I
exactly
wanted to do anyway. I was a class clown.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So people ask me all the time about entertainment hypnotherapy. Even though I haven't been trained in it, I understand it. And the answer is those people want to do that. They're
Right.
all in. It's like when they come to me to get rid of trauma or stop smoking or even weight elimination. If you're not all in, it's not going to work. So you acting like a fool up on stage is because you were all in and you were
Right.
given permission to do it.
Okay.
So you were going to do it.
And so when someone comes to you, they're
Yeah.
all in because, one, they're paying you.
Right.
They're also giving you their time.
Yeah.
And you're planting the seed to make it okay to look. You can stop smoking and it's all going to work out.
Yeah. Now, I got to admit, right up front, I'll ask them if they're all in. So for my smoking clients, I'll just say, do you really want to quit? And I've had some astonishing answers. I've actually had a guy sit in my chair and he says, "No, not really." And I said, "Really? Why are you here?" He said, "Oh, my wife wants me to quit, and my kids have been bugging me for ages." I said, "But you like smoking." He says, I love smoking. I get the nicotine hit. I love everything about it. So again, I'm going to ask you, why are you here? Because of my wife and kids. And I said, "You know what? Here's your money back. Come here when you're ready. This isn't all about your wife and kids."
And when you do that, do they fight you on it and say, "No, no, I do want to do this"?
Yeah, I've had one that just said, "No, I want to do the session anyway." And 100%, they're not successful. They're just not. They'll come back a week or two or a month later and said, "You know what? I'm still smoking." And I said, "Yeah, but we talked about that. You weren't all in. You wanted to smoke. So if you didn't want to smoke, I can help you with that. I can give you the positive affirmations. I can tell you that you want to be the role model for your kids, that you want to be healthy, that you want to save money." Can you believe it? Cigarettes cost $10 a pack today. $10. And there are people that are smoking a pack, 2 packs, 3 packs a day.
Oh, man.
Think about a pack a day at $10. That's $300 a month. That's just under $4,000 a year they're spending on cigarettes. So I can tell them about that. I can tell them about being healthy and feeling better about themselves. I can tell them about not smelling anymore, long-term health, about the fact that they're going to die early, potentially die early, emphysema, COPD. I can do all of that, but only if they're all in.
So hypnotherapy and the work that you guys do makes total sense to me.
Right.
I know the power from a clinician standpoint of placebo.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And if somebody believes something's going to work,
right,
it's probably going to work.
Yep.
Yeah,
my tagline on my business is, if the mind can conceive it and believe it, it can also achieve it.
Right.
That's on my business card.
So then you have the people who are like, "Well, I do got the right mindset. I do believe it. So why should I go to a hypnotherapist?"
Well, because they have that roadblock, right? It happens every January 1st, right? We have all of these New Year's resolutions. We're going to get healthy. We're going to lose weight. We're going to save money. We're going to go, all those New Year's resolutions. That's because they have the right mindset and they're going to do it, but they don't have the opportunity to do the follow through. And now the reason for that is they've had a lifetime of being told differently. There's these little tapes that play in the back of our mind. I call them the poisonous lies of hypnotherapy. Things like, "You can't do this," or "We don't have enough of this," or "There's not enough of this in the world for me." So let's take weight elimination, for example. You can't lose weight. You're just not that way. That is your body type. That your whole family's been this way. You can't lose weight and be different. So that starts playing in the back. And the same thing with the don't haves or the shouldn't haves, right? Those things are little tapes. Unfortunately, those little tapes are put there by somebody else. 99% of the time, those little tapes that play constantly have been there for a lifetime, and they've been placed in there by somebody else. Probably one of those 5 role models that I told you about: mom and dad, older brothers and sisters, their favorite teacher, their coach, or their priest or pastor.
It's interesting you say that, because that's where judgments are usually formed.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and those little tapes, even though "You can't do this, Robert," "You can't be successful," "You can't be in the entertainment field," you hear that enough, especially like this weight management thing that we've been talking about. "You can't lose weight. You can't do it. You don't have enough skill. You don't have enough knowledge. You don't have any of that. There's not enough money. There's not enough time." You hear that enough, and it changes from you to I. I can't do that. I don't have the skill. I don't have the time. And when it changes to I, that's when it becomes a roadblock. Okay. That's when it needs to be rewired.
So when you see someone like Tiger Woods, who went through this total downward spiral,
right?
And I know we don't know, and maybe you do know, but let's just guess, allegedly,
right?
Would you say that he's probably worked with a hypnotherapist?
I bet he's worked with a therapist, some kind of a life coach, might have been a hypnotherapist, because he stayed on point. He didn't listen to everybody else. I think that entire period of downtime that he had, where he didn't win anything for 2008 till 9,
right,
till 2019, I don't think he ever gave up on himself. I don't think he ever said, you know what, my
I
time
mean, I
is
would think not because he kept showing up. He
Yeah.
just wasn't winning.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes winning in golf is just how well you hit the ball, and sometimes luck is against you. But I don't think he ever, in his entire time that he didn't win anything, I don't think he ever gave up on himself.
See, it's interesting you say that because when you look at all, like I saw this one video,
Right.
and in the video it showed like Tiger after he won the Masters.
Right.
It had him watch a video.
Oh,
Did you see that one?
I saw that
and in
video.
the video, it's like you had all these people back to back saying he should retire.
Yeah.
He's done. He'll never win again.
Right.
Tiger's is over.
Right.
I don't think I'm with you. I don't think for 9 years he was sitting back watching those people put him down.
No. And if he did, he took motivation from it. He took motivation.
Well, I'm gonna prove him wrong, but
Yeah.
just hearing it, I bet he probably 100% avoided it
Yeah.
because otherwise, if you hear it enough,
It'll be changed from you
it's like
to
Stockholm
I.
syndrome, right?
Yeah.
It's like it just becomes how you see things.
That's right.
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. So those are the poisonous lies that we all live with. And those little tapes run constantly. And unfortunately, after a while, we start to believe them. And then we start living them. And that's why it's so hard for people to stop smoking, to eliminate weight, to overcome trauma, is because those tapes are constantly running. And you're absolutely right about Tiger. I don't think he ever believed any of those things those people said.
Now, do you smoke cigarettes?
I do not. That was funny. I joined the military. I was in the Army. And I remember my very first day in basic training. And we were standing in formation. We were all at attention, and they put us at ease. And they said, okay, all you guys that smoke, you guys can go underneath the tree over there and take a 15-minute smoke break. For those of you guys that didn't, stay where you're at, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. I only had to do that once to realize there's a better way to do this. I told a buddy, I said, I don't smoke, but can I hold one of your cigarettes? He said, sure. So I was up underneath the tree for the rest of basic training. Never smoked, not a day in my life. My dad and mom both smoked. My dad died at the age of 60, almost 61, from emphysema. And I saw what it did to him, and I was bound and determined not to let that happen to me. It has a devastating effect.
Right.
I mean, if you know a smoker, they smell, they have an odor about them. I just didn't want any of that, none of it. So I never did smoke.
Well, you know, it's the reason why I bring that up
Yeah.
and ask you that question is because you're different than most practitioners out there in the way that you're promoting and helping people get what they want as you're living or getting exactly what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I've met people who smoke
Right.
and they're hypnotherapists and they are helping other people quit smoking.
Right. And they continue to smoke.
And they continue to smoke.
Right. Yeah. I had a doctor.
That's like me sitting here going, I'm going to help you with weight loss.
Right.
But let me finish this dozen donuts.
That's right.
So I'm going to talk to you about nutrition and I'm going to eat 12 donuts.
That's right. Yeah, I had a doctor about 20 years ago that came to me, and when they first diagnosed my high blood pressure, and he said to me, you need to lose weight and get back on the exercise regimen, and you'll be fine. And I looked across the table at him and I said, Doc, aren't you like 350 pounds and you're smoking a cigarette? He said, don't do as I do as I say. But I always remember that. Yeah, hypocritical. Absolutely.
I mean, that is so crazy when you think about it.
It is. And there's a lot of them out there that do that.
Yeah, I mean, you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's that we're at this place now where hypocrisy is almost like accepted.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to be what it is you're selling.
Right.
But if you're a good enough communicator, you can sell me anything.
Right. Right. But I got to tell you, this weight management program that you do, I'm doing it right now. I told myself that my diabetes was out of control. My A1C is 7.6. So for anybody out there that monitors their A1C, they'll know that's a crazy number. My weight is out of control. I was almost at 250 pounds. My blood pressure was crazy. They were thinking about upping my blood pressure medication because they couldn't keep it under 140 over 90. So 60 days ago, I looked into your program and I jumped on that and have been doing it ever since. And all of those numbers have come down. 14 pounds down. A1C won't be tested for another 2 weeks. But my daily sugar number was 181, and now it's like 106. So that's come down. My blood pressure feels good. I've been walking every 4 times a week, so things are coming together. I'm going to be the role model for this
I
program.
don't know. When I met this hypnotist years ago,
Yeah.
and I met another hypnotist that you may know. Well, I know you know. And I remember having a conversation saying, okay, if you're guiding someone with hypnotherapy for
Right.
their weight loss,
Right.
and I've shared this with you before, what are you suggesting to them? So there's one hypnotherapist I'm talking to, and I got to know him because I was coaching his wife and his daughter,
Right.
and I helped them like lose a lot of weight.
Right.
And he would come in and he was like, he gave them hypnotherapy, but they didn't believe in it, right?
Okay.
And so my conversation with him was, I believe that they believe in you, but what you're suggesting is not something that's doable for them. So in his hypnotherapy, he would say, well, he would suggest like, you want to drink water, and he would do, it was very generic and vague.
Right.
And then he would say fruits and vegetables, but it wasn't like what to do.
Right.
It was just, you know what I mean?
I do. I really do.
And I always said, man, what would make total sense is if a hypnotherapist was helping someone with weight loss, if they were planting the seeds that had guidance and structure, that had a method behind it.
Right.
Instead of just drink more water,
Right.
think about fruits and vegetables.
Right. Yeah.
And you're doing, and so you and I have a conversation. What I do makes sense to you.
It does.
You become a diet for life. It's like you're like the ultimate hypnotherapist when it comes to weight management.
Well, thank you.
I mean, the way I see it, because one, you're doing it for yourself. You're
Right.
living it.
Right.
Two, you're just a kind, nice, awesome, professional person. You and your wife, you guys are great people, and people can feel that. And you're constantly looking for ways to upgrade your own education.
Yeah. My skill set. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
You quit
fascinating.
learning, you die. Right. That's the way I look at it. So, I've always wanted to learn. And when I had an opportunity to become certified in your program, I was all in. I spent as much time as I could to get those assignments done so I could get them over to you so that we could move on to the next step. But I did change my hypnotherapy scripts because they are generic. You're gonna drink a lot more water. You want to eat fruits and vegetables. You want to eat stuff that's healthy. You want to take smaller bites because, believe it or not, the stomach knows when it's full and it'll tell you to slow down. And it's probably half of what you're eating right now. So I took those generic scripts and I looked at them and I incorporated diet-free life right in there. So you're going to enjoy eating a fat-burning meal. I mean, I use the words. You're going to get a protein. You're going to get a fast carb. You're going to have a slow carb. And I give them examples of that. And it's in there a couple of times in each one of these
awesome.
scripts.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is impressive because it could help so many other hypnotherapists,
Right.
like really up their game,
Right.
as it pertains to weight management.
Yeah. And maybe even some of your other coaches, if they're interested.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Happy to help.
Like if you could train them in a way where you can get people in that relaxed state,
Yep.
so they're willing to accept information
Right.
or these suggestions, which makes their practice that much more credible,
Right.
stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. When we get them into that hypnotic state, we're starting to rewire the brain, right? The messages that are happening inside the brain, because people associate food, to stay on food, with certain activities that makes them feel good. Birthday parties, weddings, celebrations, all of that kind of stuff is associated with food. So food and the celebration feeling good makes them feel good because they get those endorphin rush because that's how they relate. So if you get them into a hypnotic state, you say, you know what, you're going to have that same good feeling, but you're going to do it with a lot less food, and you're going to do it in a way that helps burn fat, which helps you feel better, get more energetic, get more energy. And once you can rewire that message system, that's when they start having success.
Okay, so I want to kind of, like in my thoughts, I'm thinking celebrities have been using hypnotherapists for years.
I've heard that.
And so my thought, like, I don't know, like in history, does it go back to like where this started? Like, is there like a place where all this started?
Yeah, it's in the late 1800s when people started working with hypnotherapy, using a mindset to do things that they wanted to do. And some of the early hypnotists would actually help people For example, there are some that can actually have a surgery done on them without any anesthesia.
Woo!
Because they're able to put themselves in that hypnotic trance that they're not going to feel pain. And their reasoning is that if I don't have any painkiller or any anesthesia, my recovery will be better, quicker, and faster. And they were able to prove that. But to get somebody into that kind of hypnotic trance, that's pretty wild. But they have been able to do it. A lot of people still today, people will say, yeah, I've had surgery with no painkiller. I've been able to do that.
Man, well.
So it's been around for quite a while. The most famous, of course, is the stuff that we were talking about earlier, where I said NASA uses it with their astronauts to get them in the right mindset. The military's been using it for many years, trying to get their soldiers and their people that work for them in that right mindset.
So would you say that, how, like for instance, when people get married,
Yeah.
Or they're about to get married,
Yeah.
oftentimes it's recommended, hey, don't wait until you have problems before you go get therapy. Go and get therapy now.
Right.
Would you say the same when it comes to hypnotherapy, that people would benefit if they went for a segment
Absolutely.
or a session?
Yeah, especially if they know there's an issue, especially if they know there's a roadblock that's not allowing them to live the life that they want. Because some of those things that we had talked about earlier, especially when it comes to trauma, like bullying, divorce, death of a loved one, maybe incest, rape, all of those kinds of things. If they're sitting in the background and you're going into a relationship, until you resolve them, they're going to come up. They're going to come to the surface. They're going to bring and raise their ugly head. So it's best to resolve them beforehand and move on, and then have a good feeling about it as you go into the relationship, a much more open relationship where you actually understand each other. Rape, for example, is prevalent. There's a lot of women that'll tell you that they either have been or been tempted to. Well, let's get that resolved. Let's fix those feelings. Let's fix those emotions that are with that, so that you can have a great relationship with your husband, for example.
Now, is a lot of, when you say fixing those things, would a lot of it be, let's say that as a guy, I grow up in a household where I don't see affection.
Right.
I don't see, like, my mom or dad or her boyfriends don't hug. There's none of that.
Right.
And so next thing you know, I'm in a relationship, and I realize I want to be that guy that would hold my wife's hand. I want to be that guy that'll just kiss her for no reason.
Right.
But I never do.
Yeah.
And she reads a book called, 5 Love Languages. And she's like, my love language is, being touched and having someone hold my hand, but I never do it.
Right.
So I would be a great candidate, right, to go get hypnotherapy.
You would be. You absolutely. In fact, your example is much better than the one I was about to use, and that was if you grew up in a household that had domestic violence. You saw that one partner was abusing the other partner. So I love your example. Yeah, your role model was probably your parents in that case. And so you saw what they did on a daily basis, and you knew that to be normal. So when you went into your relationship with your new wife, you just assumed that you were going to continue to do that because that's what mom and dad did, or even maybe grandpa and grandma. I mean, this stuff can be handed down generation to generation.
I bet.
And at some point, in this case, your new wife reads this book and says, no, we're changing this. Then yes, you would be you were saying, oh yeah, that is a problem. I want to do that. I want to be that man that you want me to be. Perfect candidate to come see me because you're all in.
I like that, because it gives, like, anyone, like, if someone's saying, I know I should exercise, I know, but I just can't get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly, when I started your program, I love your program. You have the right combinations of food. If you eat them in the right combinations and the right portions, you're going to eliminate body fat. And you have the exercise component. Okay, if you do the right amount of exercise that's applicable to you, that feels good for you. I mean, don't do something stupid that you don't like because you're going to hurt yourself, or stop doing it. I thought the one piece that was missing for me was the mindset. And that's why, as a hypnotherapist, I went, wow, if I add this to my client base, I'm hitting a home run.
Now what do you go to a hypnotherapist for you? For things?
I can. Yeah, my wife's a hypnotherapist.
So do you guys, like, work with each other?
Yeah. Yeah, so when I rewrote the scripts and I started your program, I had her read those to me
Oh,
while I was in
nice.
a hypnotic state and trance. And so she's now starting to get ready to introduce them to her clients as well. She's got 2 or 3 clients that are working on weight management, and I call it weight elimination because words are so powerful.
They are.
I mean, when you say weight loss, or you think about the word loss, people will say, well, if I lose my keys or I lose my wallet, more importantly, I lose my cell phone, what do? You go try to find it.
You go try, yeah.
So when you say weight loss, so I've been slowly transitioning my clients from weight loss to weight elimination, because when it's eliminated, it's never coming back.
No, you're right. It's funny. Like one of my, like for years, even in our first book in 2001, we never used the term weight loss. We would always say release fat.
Yeah,
But
I like that.
I met Dick Gregory,
Yeah, great guy.
who's an amazing guy.
Yeah,
And so one time I was talking to him and he goes, he says, the first law of thermodynamics? I said, yes, sir. He says, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. He says, so if that's the case and someone loses a bunch of fat, 100 pounds, where's that fat? And he said, it's like that dirty cloud that's hanging over them.
yeah,
And as they're walking around, that fat's just waiting and waiting and waiting to jump right back on them.
Right.
It's like,
that's right.
it's
Yeah.
going to come right back.
Yeah, I tell this to my smokers all the time, and it's applicable to weight management clients as well. If I get you to stop smoking at the end of this session, you are going to become a non-smoker. You've got to promise that you'll never take a single puff, drag, or draw from a cigarette again, because if you do, the unconscious, subconscious mind is going to say, oh, they're back to smoking again. I remember when we were a smoker, and within a week you'll be back to the pack a day that you were at when you first came to see me. And that's also true for weight elimination. We work on that program that says, I'm going to eat in fat burning mode. I'm going to eat a protein. I'm going to eat a fast carb. I'm going to eat a slow carb. Because if you don't consistently, you're going to gain all that weight back. Your mindset has changed.
Yeah, sitting
Now,
back waiting on you.
And if you have exceptions, there's exceptions. I mean, Thanksgiving. I mean, everybody kind of overdoes it at Thanksgiving. But the very next day, if you get back on the routine of fat burning meals, you're good. You're good. Don't beat yourself up. You're good. Just move on. You're back on track. Let's go, keep on going.